for us postmodern seekers, what is the role, or what is our role? What is the role of post-tribal shamanism in today's society? How can we be useful and of service in following this path?
The working answer that I've been dealing with for a while now is that the shaman today, the post-tribal shaman, is really as much in service to community as the tribal shaman would be. The difference is in the nature of the community. Okay, our community, my community, consists of those clients that come to see me, those people who read my book, those people who come to my workshops. Those are my community, and I serve them in much the same way that a tribal shaman would serve their tribe. The difference is that we're all individuals, and I have to make sure that I am working to empower each individual that I work with, working to see and acknowledge their potential and their strengths. And just as a tribal shaman would have the role not only of healing, but also reminding the tribe where they come from, what their place is in the world, who their ancestors are, what spirits they have alliance with, okay? That's very much the same work that I'm doing. A great part of the work that I do with my community is healing work, and it's everything from plantar fasciitis and tennis elbow to TMJ, and I can't stop thinking of my grandmother, and she won't stop coming into my dreams and yelling at me, okay? Very broad spectrum. But part of that process is also helping people to understand where they belong. One of the things that we run into that is endemic in this work in our culture is that people forget that they have ancestors, that we owe those ancestors a debt that we cannot possibly repay. You know, they will always be spiritually larger than us. And there's nothing that can change that, because they've given us a gift that we cannot possibly repay to them. We can pay it on as we have children, but that remains a huge debt, that gift of life. And that goes all the way back through their ancestors. So when you, in a sense, stand before your parents and you think of all the little accumulated minor tragedies and issues and foibles that they have and all the things that make you irritated with them, remember that at a soul level, you wouldn't be here without them. And they always have that. You know, they are the doorway that you use to come here. And that is something, just by helping people realize that, it gives them a sense of, I belong, I have a mother and father, they had mothers and fathers, it goes back throughout history, throughout my ancestry, and so I have a place on the earth. So it's a little bit different from, you know, the tribal thing of, in the time of the dreaming, we all emerged from the navel of the earth, which was about 2 blocks down that way and had a funny shaped tree next to it. Yeah. The context has changed, but the role is really very similar. And I believe that one of the reasons that there has been such a resurgence of interest in this sort of thing, and even naming it shamanism, is that our culture has really lost that connection with earth, that connection with spirit, that connection with our ancestors, with our own souls. So I really see my role as a reconnector, an integrator, a reminder. Instead of geographical proximity, instead of living in the same village and growing up with the same people, and so identifying with them as a tribe, instead we have a conceptual proximity, and this is where the virtual thing comes in.
Yeah.
People who believe the same things have a certain shared proximity. And people who have opened up to their souls to a certain extent, or who meditate, or who do other practices that allow them to be closer to that part of themselves, they have much more proximity with people who are like-minded than I think you would just growing up next door to someone.